This is a video going over how you could answer exam-style questions for fashion business in digital age. This is focusing on part one of the examinable topics, CRM and e-commerce. Now, like the rest of the videos I'm making for revision, the content in here is only an indication. So there are things you could say in answer to the question we're going to look at that is not going to be covered here. There could be answers elsewhere, and just because going over this does not mean this will be in the exam. So make sure you look over all examinable topics, revise all the content from the exams, particularly the part one and part two revision videos, and of course anything which we go over here may or may not be in the exam. So just bear that in mind, but I hope that you find this useful and that you can use the logic of how I'm tearing the questions apart to help you revise better. And if you remember the process which I've torn the questions apart and answered them, then you should do pretty well in the exam. So this is the question we're going to look at. So we're going to go through each one by one. So customer relationship management. Just before we start on here, there's a whole thing about CRM and eCRM. As I mentioned in the part one revision video, eCRM and CRM is pretty much the same thing now because we bring electronics completely into our lives and everything we do. So it used to be completely different, but now it's so close that it might as well be the same thing. Anyhow, let's get on with answering the first part. So we are being asked to briefly define customer relationship management, CRM, and explain why this is important to contemporary fashion companies. And that's 30 marks. So what do we do to have to answer this? So we need to give a clear definition of CRM. We got to say, well, what does this mean to business? And we've got to give some good examples. So this is the definition which is given in lectures. Remember, part one of the revision videos do have things you can read about this. Customer relationship management is a term that refers to practices, strategies, and technologies that companies use to manage and analyze consumer interactions. Remember, manage and analyze. So give great experiences and analyze what's going on. And data throughout the customer life cycle with the goal of improving business relationships with customers, assisting in customer retention and driving sales growth. So we can talk about this in relation to the 4 common business practices. It's in part one of the video. Go and watch that. So yeah, it really fits completely into all parts of the company at all stages of the customer life cycle, analysing, understanding, managing great experiences, and also drive service design, which is part 2. So CRM systems are designed to compile information on customers across different channels. Channels could be in-store, could be online, could be interview, could be lots of different things. Or points of contact between the customer and the company, which could include the company's website, telephone, live chat, direct mail, marketing materials, and social media, etc. CRM systems can also give customer-facing staff detailed information on customers' personal information, personal history, brand preference, and concerns. So that's quite a good overall definition. Now, the loyalty satisfaction model, sorry about the typo there, it should be loyalty satisfaction. So we can talk about now the importance is, if you make people satisfied and loyal, they're going to be out there like really talking about the company and really emphasizing why it's so good, bringing their friends to shop there, bringing them to buy the products. And think about the 4 stages of customer life cycle. Once they're buying the products and once they are in the ecosystem, then you can upsell and get them to buy more things. So think about how you've got an iPhone, pretty much well saturated the markets. It's still the leading handset in the world. Apple puts services right into your phone. So we can have Apple Music, so we're paying again. Anyway, so we've got, and the opposite of that is you're not satisfied, not loyal, you're going to say, don't buy this. So think about, people whose Samsung Galaxy Note 7 exploded, they're not going to be out there singing praise, they're going to be out there saying, no, don't buy this. So what you've got is things like this. So back to the question, we are giving a clear definition of CRM, we can do that. What does it mean to business? It means you can actually grow the business, it means that you can excel and understand each of the 4 marketing areas. So if you look at the part 1 revision video, there's a lot more content in there, it goes into more details. So when you're looking at that video, bear in mind these questions and parts. So let's just jump forward to the next section. So critically examine the 4 classic marketing activities. Here we are. Customer selection, customer acquisition, customer retention, and customer extension. So, critically examine the activities. Oh, by a little tip, you probably know this already, always read all the exam questions as you go along, so you don't cram everything into question 1 when we're going to ask that in question 2, so always make sure you read them, and if we're going to ask for something, you can whole pack. But you can mention things in part 1, but don't go overboard. So what do you have to do? Well, we've got selection, acquisition, extension, selection, acquisition, retention, and extension. We're given those. So it's 40 marks this question. So to get 40 marks, you've got 4 sections. So what I would expect is saying, well, what is selection? What are the benefits to the business? And then how could this be done? For acquisition, you do the same thing. What is acquisition? What are the benefits of acquisition to the business? What are examples of how acquisition can be done? So, as you can see, that's 4 times 3, which is 12. There's 12 things there. For 40-point mark question, you wouldn't need to go into great depth on each of these parts. But as long as you've covered everything, then you're doing pretty well. Because if you think about it, if you just said selection is and stopped there, you're not going to get a first with that because it's not showing full understanding. But the rest of it, the benefits to business and examples, that really is going to a good level. Now, here's what we have from the exam, the customer lifecycle activities. Now, let's look at selection. So selection is thinking about who we target, what's their value, what's the life cycle, where do we reach them. Customer acquisition, the targeting the right sections, minimalising acquisition costs, optimizing service quality, using the right channels. So acquisition, for example, is acquiring customers to our business, getting people to actually come and buy items. So we benefits the business, you're getting the right people. And when you're doing it is, benefits the business is minimizing costs, giving a better service and quality. You have the right people coming to you because there's no point targeting people on benefits if you're selling multi-million-pound cars. So that's where that is. So you can go into more of that. I'm going to talk about more of this in the part 1 video. So sorry to keep pushing back to that, but that's because the part 1 vision video is a lot more comprehensive and goes into a lot more detail over a whole hour. So I'm not trying to burden you down with too much here. So that's what you're expected to do, really go into what's done. And the final part, given that a 5% increase in retention of customers can lead to an increase in profits of more than 25%, so that's a good little quote there, identify key digital technologies and service design initiatives that you would recommend to a retailer seeking to improve retention. Justify your recommendations and use examples to support your discussion. Now remember, you talk about retention just above, so you won't need to go into loads of detail to tell me what retention is. You've already done that. So you can look into the next part. So what you're really saying, the service design part and digital technology part. So lots of points here. For the 30-part question, again, you don't need to go into great depths of detail. There's lots of small bits, so it's deep enough is the way to look at it, rather than just writing. Good technique for exams is when you finish a question, rather than starting the new one straight away, give yourself space at the bottom of it. So finish the exam, you can always go back and add extra detail in. And similarly, if you get a question and you don't know how to answer it, just bullet point everything you can think of to do with that topic. You'll get some points, and that's better than none. So anyway, I did that. So service design. So what is service design? We'll go through this in the part 2 video, innovation and service design. By the way, all the links are in the description of this video. So what are the steps to go through when doing service design? Can you give examples of service design initiative? And there's on Blackboard, someone asked a discussion question in January 2017, and there's good examples there about service design in the fashion industry. If you're viewing this video after January 2017, there's going to be more examples in the slides and on Blackboard. Anyhow, what are the benefits of service design to the fashion industry? And then you've got to go think about digital technology. So what is digital technology? Can you give some examples of one? What are the benefits and drawbacks to the business? And then some real world examples. So look at benefits of great service design. You are improving customer relationship. So think about how we manage it. Think about the life cycle points. Think about the Net Promoter Score. So Net Promoter Score, think about to get the percentage of people who rank themselves as being 9 out of 10 on a 10-point scale about how much they would promote the business through word of mouth, minus the percentage of people who would really be against, so they would be 0 to 6. And that gives you a score, it might be 10, might be 40, whatever it is. And you want to see that score going up, so you have more evangelical customers than you have terrorists. Thinking about that loyalty satisfaction model we had earlier. Great service design also allows you to gather personal data and deliver strategic CRM further. So when you give a great service, interacting with people, you also collect data whilst doing it. That lets you understand who's there, what they like, what they respond to, demographic information, emotional information you may not have any insight to otherwise, so you can do that. And of course, every touch point is an opportunity for CRM. So great service design lets you deliver great CRM. And of course, with service design, you have 3 areas. So you promise something, you deliver something, then you share afterwards. So we're going to say, if we say come to Primark for the single greatest fashion experience of your life, if you swallow that and believe it, and you get there, the experience is going to be a major letdown. So you're going to walk away going, it's not very good. And then your post-experience, talking to your friend going, it's terrible, don't go to Primark. But if Primark say, as the promise, you'll be surprised what you find, then the delivery could be, that's surprising. And then people have a good experience with their friends. So make sure what you rise as an experience and what you deliver are well thought out, just part of the whole process. Because also, exceeding expectations is always very good. And of course, all experiences are interconnected. Now in the lecture slides, we went through this, and you can see on the podcast of the lecture going through stages of the buying process. So this is a journey map. So here we have a simple journey map going through, showing the end of one person's journey and the start of the next person's. Good about reading reviews. So when you're in the buying process, you're unaware of the product. You become aware of the product. You search for suppliers. You evaluate. You select. You purchase, and then you give feedback somewhere else. So when you think about when you're communicating, you're generating awareness. Internet marketing techniques. You can put displays, put ads, recommendations to help people make purchases, automated email reminders, one-page payment systems, offline bits. I'm sure you've been online shopping and you put something in your shopping cart and you think, I can't afford it, close the window down. 5 minutes later an email appears saying, hey, there's something in your basket, do you want to check this out? So that's kind of an example of how they're delivering a good service, interacting with you, is also part of CRM. But more on this in the part 2 video. How service design is done, you have depends how you read the model. You can say there's 3 main phases or there's 4 main phases. So you've got something you want to work with, so you want to improve our customer experience. Okay, that's our start. So you discover what is the customer experience. So you do in-store journeys, you do interviews, you use diaries, lots of different research methods, and you actually discover what the real journey is, not what your management think the journey is, but what the real journey is, then you define saying, okay, this is a customer journey. This is where we excel. This is where we have problems. This is where people get annoyed. This is how, this is where we use personas, which we talk about in the part 2 video. When we say, well, you know, our primary personas feel fine, but our secondary and negative, they really don't like it. So that's how things go. So you define what the journey should be, and then you synthesize and go, right, the way we need to improve our service is on these touch points. And then you go, okay, we're creating now, the creation phrase. So we develop new ideas of how we could deliver better service to people, maybe instruct them better, maybe get them to purchase things more, reminders, all these different things. Lots of different ideas. Then we, at the top of the diamond there, we analyze them and say which one's the best, which one's the most appropriate, what's going to be the most innovative maybe, that could be helping us use areas. And then we deliver. So we actually prototype the services, we do walkthroughs, we see how it works in reality, maybe try it in a few stores, roll it out, and then finally make it go national. So that's the process of service design. The big difference between service design and just doing services is that when you just do services, you say, we want to make our experience better. Boss thinks that the way we should do experiences is this way, therefore we're doing this. And you're jumping over the whole thing, missing out the exploration, the discovery, and the creation phase. And these parts are critical to getting really good, innovative ideas, which are completely new and really work well. So it's a very important system. And you'll see lots of areas here. I'll put in the link to this video a link to an article about how service design can help eSpirit recover. So, then we get the technology part. So we have the diffusion and adoption curve. So you can only leverage advantage before the late majority, which means if you're over halfway, now you're over that peak, and you bring in new technology, everyone's already got it. You've got no real advantage. They've stolen the market from you, and they've got the market share. So you have to steal people from them rather than them coming to you. If you're an early adoption, so early adopters and early majority, you can really get the people with your newness, your innovation, and then once you've got hold of them, you just have to retain them, whereas other people have to try and steal them from you. If you're an innovator on here, the problem is that it could be a bit early, and the technology might be a bit immature, so it's good to invest in innovators. It's good to watch them, maybe on board, but be critical. And there's more on this in the lecture slides, workshops, and the part 2 video. So yeah, when you think about the technology part, that's very important. When you identify new technologies, you are, technology networking, crowdsourcing, technology hunting and mining. This is covered in part 2 video as well, so definitely good for that. And then, of course, when to adopt, you got to think, well, is technology really mature enough? Do we need to invest? Will adoption give me this advantage? Is its integration suitable? Do we have to develop things? And are customers ready for this? So, for example, imagine there is people really aren't that ready for it. They're kind of there, but the technology is not really mature enough. Body scanning, the technology side is kind of mature enough, but the human interaction design part really is very immature. We've got a PhD student working on that right now, but even though it's an old technology, it's not quite ready yet. And recognizing that technology will diffuse. And we've got those 5 points of technology diffusion. They're in the part 2 video. Go and watch that. So not all technology being adopted at the same speed. Some bad ideas are accepted, some good ideas are ignored. Some ideas are dismissed and the company makes them a success. It's very hard to do. So that is, trying to find my slide, going back. As you can see, this is, there we are. So yeah, so what self-design is, what the steps, the examples and benefits, and then think what's technology, what are the examples, what's the benefits. So we can talk about all these things using different theories. So obviously this is not me going through saying here's an example answer, but hopefully you'll see that I've torn apart lots of questions, given you examples of how you can answer them, and lots of theories and parts you can use to form in. Now, obviously, you know what you're doing with exams, you're great at them, you've done them many times before. So that is a very brief overview of some of the theories you can use and styles you can use to interrogate exam questions for this. As before, not everything here will be in the exam, and some things in here may be in the exam. Not going to give everything away, so revise everything around the exam topics, watch the revision videos, and any problems, go on Blackboard or come and see us. We'll be very happy to chat with you. Have a great revision session.